Hello mga ka-learners! Oras na ulit para matuto! Now it's about families in the changing world. Ang pamilya sa nagbabagong mundo. Many families back then were large. This is because the more children a family had, the more hands were available to help with work. Many things back then was done manually, without the help of machines. Today, technology has greatly changed the world we live in, including our families. In this lesson, we will explain how families should deal with temporary separation and describe how families should deal with migration. Look at these three words and think of how they are related to each other. Poverty, overseas employment, temporary separation. These three words can be related in this manner. Poverty is one of the factors that can lead people to seek overseas employment. When parents work overseas, they are temporarily separated from their families. According to a 2018 study, 16.6% of Filipinos live below the poverty line. That's about 18 million of the population. This means that a lot of families remain poor. Due to this, a lot of parents are forced to work abroad to earn more to support their families. This is very common in the Philippines. When a family member begins to work abroad, they are temporarily separated from their family. What do you think is the effect of this temporary separation to a family? Family members who work abroad experience loneliness. For those who were left behind, discipline and guidance can be a hard thing to enforce because of the loss of one parent. Some parents who are left behind often feel alone and sad. This can unfortunately lead to broken relationships or failed marriages. One reason for this is the lack of communication and trust between the parent who is abroad and the parent who is left behind. How do we solve problems caused by temporary separations? Families can cope with separation through communication. This involves writing letters, emails, making phone calls, and video calls. No matter how far away a family member may seem, they can still feel loved through communication. Love can be kept alive and strong this way, despite the distance. Special events like birthdays or holidays or opportunities for the family to show their love even if long distances separate them. Difficulties in enforcing discipline and guidance on the children. Again, communication is key. The parent who is left behind often feels that taking care of the children all alone is too much for them to handle. What this parent must do is try to talk to the children more often and explain the situation to them, being careful to be appropriate to the child's age. Most of the time, children who are difficult to discipline just lack attention and love. Children should be assured and reassured that the parent who is away still loves them. This can be done by the parent who is left behind. As for the parent in another place, they must still communicate frequently with the child to reassure the child of their love. From your learnings so far, can you try to give the following family an advice about their situation? Mang Jose works in Saudi Arabia. He is a construction worker there. He has been in Saudi for 6 years now. He really misses his family. What can his family do to make him happy? Angel is a nurse in Chicago, USA. She will be celebrating her birthday in 3 days. She feels sad because no one will celebrate it with her. Her sister Rose, who is in the Philippines, wants to organize a party for Angel. Is this a good idea? Why or why not? Diding is a helper in Hong Kong. She has not seen her son Boboy for 4 years now. When she goes back to the Philippines, she wants her son to still love and care for her. Her husband Tony wants to help her. How can Tony help her? Let's compare our answers. A good piece of advice for Mang Jose's family is that they must communicate frequently with him to keep him happy. They can show him their love and care if they write and call him frequently. In the second situation, yes, organizing a party for Angel is a good thing to do. The family of a person who goes to work abroad should still celebrate special events. Celebrating Angel's birthday, even if she is not in the country, is a way of virtually being with her. Sending her a birthday card or calling her by long distance is also a way of being in touch with her. Lastly, in the third situation, Tony can help if he explains to his son why his mother Diding left the country. He must explain to Boboy that his mother loves and cares for him. The reason why she decided to work abroad was so she could earn more to provide for him. With the changes in the Philippine economy, more and more workers seek jobs abroad. Others want to move to other countries with their families. Let's watch a story that shows how a family dealt with migration.
One day, Romeo received a letter.
Your application has been approved.
My application to work as a computer technician in Canada has been approved.
Congratulations, honey. But what does this mean?
This means we have to move to Canada and start a new life there.
Are you saying we have to migrate to Canada?
Yes. If you and the children agree, we must first discuss this with the children.
What's migration, Papa?
It means moving from one place to another. In our case, we will moving from the Philippines to Canada.
That is mean we will stay there forever?
That is possible, anak. That's why we will talk about it to see if we can make a decision together. Why do we have to go anyway?
Times are hard nowadays. I have found a job in Canada that can pay me well. The money will be enough to feed the whole family, pay for your education, and provide for all our needs.
Your father is working as hard as he can in our country, but this new job will help the family a lot. What about our studies?
You can continue your studies in Canada.
What about my friends?
I'm sorry, John. You will have to leave your friends behind, but you can always get in touch with them through Facebook.
You will make a new friends in Canada.
But I don't want new friends.
Me too. I don't want to leave. I'm sorry, Mama, Papa. Oh, Romeo, what will we do?
We will have to talk to the children some more. Let's try to make them understand.
Several months later, the family decided to go to Canada. During their first week there,
Hi, Anna. How was school? Hi, Mom. It was okay. Mom, since when did you learn to call me Mom and not Mama?
Hi, Mom. I had a great day.
You too? Well, that's how it is here. I'm going to my room now.
later, after dinner,
Romeo, I feel uncomfortable with the children.
Why?
They act so Western. They called me Mom today.
Honey, remember that they are in Canada now. They are being exposed to a different culture.
But what will we do? I still want them to have Filipino values.
We cannot change what is around them. What we can do is to teach them Filipino values. They should learn to have these values hand in hand with what they learn here in Canada.
so Rose and Romeo still brought their children up the Filipino way. They taught them Filipino values and respect. The children learned how to appreciate the Filipino culture while growing up in Canada. But there were still some problems that the family faced. One day,
I had a hard time at work today.
Why? What went wrong?
Well, maybe it's the culture. I'm probably not used to it. Today, my boss was very strict. He is not like the Filipino bosses I am used to.
You are still adjusting. Things will be better once you get used to the people around you. That's right, Dad. I used to have a hard time making friends too. I thought Canadian kids were very rough and impolite. But I was wrong. You just have to get used to living here.
Ate is right. It doesn't matter what country you live in. You just have to be good person for people to like you.
Now it's our children that know best.
Did you watch the story intently? What problems did Rose and Romeo experience before they migrated to Canada? What problems did the family face when they got to Canada? How did they solve their problems? At first, Rose and Romeo's children did not agree about the idea of migrating to Canada. This became a problem for the family. They were unsure about the changes they would experience if they migrated. The family faced the problem of dealing with changes when they got to Canada. For instance, Rose felt that her children were acquiring Western values and traits. She wanted them to have Filipino values. Second, the family had to adjust to the different attitudes and culture of the people in Canada. They solved their problem by talking about it in the family. They communicated well. Also, there was a positive attitude among the family members. They helped each other adjust to the changes. Migration can cause a lot of difficulties. This is because family members have to adjust to a lot of changes. Imagine how you would feel if you suddenly moved to a new environment. How would you feel if you left your family and friends behind? Most families who migrate have a hard time dealing with the new culture that they become exposed to. Filipinos living abroad are faced with a culture different from their own. People from different cultures act, think, and speak differently. To deal with these changes, one must develop a positive attitude within himself or herself and the family. There must be constant communication and love among the family members. Family members must support one another through these changes. They should also help each other adjust to these changes. Let's summarize what we have learned so far. Some of the problems and challenges families face today are temporary separation, migration, and negative effects of technology. Temporary separation is often brought about by the need for at least one of the parents to work abroad. Migration is also often brought about by the desire of parents to look for better opportunities for work in other countries. Migration causes problems about dealing with new environments and cultures. There it is, mga ka-learners. In this lesson, we have learned the problems encountered by families when they undergo temporary separation and when they migrate. Well, these problems may be solved with the help of communication and technology. Tune in our next episode to know how else technology can help a family. See you again, mga ka-learners!